Welcome back. Cuba has suffered its third island-wide blackout in just 6 months. The outage leaving nearly all 11 million residents without electricity. It's the latest sign of Cuba's worsening energy crisis.
The blackout comes as President Trump keeps the U.S. fuel blockade in place, saying he wants a deal to open up the island for good after over 60 years of communist rule. Joining us now is Fox News contributor and SiriusXM Patriot radio host, David Webb. David, great to have you on the show.
Good to see you.
All right, so that to me is the question, because these guys, they have blackouts periodically. They're having another one. They're clearly in economic dire straits right now. Do you think we're at a point where the scale could finally tip and you could see a real permanent change in a country that's been besieged by communism for decades?
Well, here's the reality. The people have been starving for decades, right? Those, the haves and the have-nots, as in those in charge, whether under Castro, then his brother, then under the current presidency, or dictator, let's be more clear about that. And that's always been the case. Frequent blackouts, it's not periodic, it's actually frequent. There's also damaged soil, agriculture. This has been going on. So starving, they've been starving for a number of things, including freedom. Now it's time to starve them of the resources that keep these 80-plus-year-old, some 90-year-old generalissimos and the dictator and the crews in charge, because the generational change happens, they eventually die. Fidel passed. You look at Raul, you look at the other leaders. Now they've stolen, they've hidden away tens of billions. There's not really even a good estimate of how much they've stolen and hidden in banks around the world in other forms of money. But it's time for them to go. The people are going to suffer, unfortunately, but inevitably they have to fail. And this fuel blockade, think about it, Venezuela taken out, the oil not flowing. They still have to do some work to keep them from having influence in Mexico, especially right off the Gulf, also in Venezuela and others with the Chavistas and others that they work together with the Cuban communists. They work in Latin America. They're still very dangerous because they're communists.
Right.
Just see them for what they are.
Right.
It is very hot there. And as you mentioned, people are suffering since the grid went down. And this is not an uncommon occurrence. But having said that, it adds pressure. We were just talking in the previous segment about Trump going to meet with the NATO allies, putting pressure on Putin to try to, end the war with Ukraine. And so I'm looking at this strategy. Obviously, President Trump has said this is a national security issue, and that's why he stopped the Venezuelan oil shipments. Having said that, is this enough pressure to finally do it?
I hope it is, but I'll tell you the reality is that they don't care about the people.
Yeah.
The first thing you have to realize is they don't care how much the people suffer. They care about their power. And their expanded influence around Latin America and somewhere other areas in the Caribbean, that's starting to wane because they're unable to keep as much control as they did, but they're still dangerous. Look, they have operations here in the United States. We've taken on a couple of organizations in the past few weeks. They are not going to stop, and their people will pay the price. Better to give them a better future, freedom. I think we should also restart the Voice of America more effectively, push those messages down there, beam it in, let people know that the world hasn't forgotten them.
Right, and the roots go deep there, and that's part of the challenge, is pulling out those roots. I want to talk about this, though. You were on board, this is so cool, because I just saw a video of it. You were on board the USS Kearsarge for the International Naval Review over the 4th of July. And you were showing us some of the videos of these. You've got them out on your X page. This is just so phenomenally cool that you got to do this. I want you to talk about it, but maybe also talk about it in the context of the conversation we tend to have about, are we behind on shipbuilding, right? What's the status of U.S. shipbuilding? Talk about what you saw there.
Well, first of all, talk about being in the most amazing place for the air show and the pass and review. Yeah. A little more context, I was in Liberty Park in 1976. There when they opened the park, the big op sail, all the tall ships coming by. Wow. Now I'm on the Tier 1 ship. The vice president is there. Mike Waltz, our friend, colleague, is there. Hung Cao, the acting secretary of the Navy. Admiral Caudle, the CNO. This was the place to be, to have the best view of the tall ships, the pass-in review. So it's like being a big kid again.
Yes.
But there are serious issues. The issues are, how do we rebuild our military? Think about it. The Navy's in the Constitution. It's there for a reason. It's commerce on the seas. We are a maritime nation. So we need to build back our Navy. We have littoral class ships. We have multiple platforms on one ship capabilities, but we need to grow that. And shipbuilding needs to be done in America with American steel to meet American standards. I mean, you don't defeat the enemy by letting them, or opponents or otherwise, by letting them control the type of, the quality that you put in your military equipment. And that's a big push by the Trump administration. It's time to build it here. The Nimitz, by the way, can't forget the Nimitz, 51 years in service, her final deployment when the president ordered her to come here, nuclear class carrier there in New York Harbor. That was an amazing performance. And look, Fox was on board there. It was great to see all that.
Stuff. Amazing.
Incredible. Those are great
It was like
pictures.
being a kid again.
Yes.
You know, there's the vice president, there's the CNO. By the way, shout out to Admiral Caudle, my friend. I'll see him tomorrow.
David Webb.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. That was great.